Welcome back. This is Brunch Educational Talk, and we'll be looking mainly at innovative ways of delivering education in this generation. Now, the Open University is claiming a world record for the number of iTunes downloads as the first to reach 20 million. Universities around the world are now distributing material through the iTunes U educational area of the online service. And the global figure for downloads from iTunes U has reached 250 million. To discuss this with me today is Dr. Chris Imafidon. Dr. Chris, you're very welcome to our studios.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Amazing at what is happening in this generation where education is being delivered online. Let's look at the Open University using iTunes U to deliver, and downloads have reached 250 million.
That's right. That's the current language. You cannot hold back to the archaic methods of yesteryears and expect this new generation to latch onto it. So it's because we now have wide availability of mobile devices that can play these materials, they now see that it's as useful a textbook as the traditional textbook is. If you want more information, then it's best to use electronic ways of delivering information. And I'm very glad because a lot of people used to associate iTunes with entertainment, with music, with pleasure, but now they're now saying, no, it can also help with career advancement, it can enhance learning, it can deliver materials that were hitherto locked up in boring pages of textbooks. So it's an exciting period for anyone that wants to learn anything. There's no more excuse for saying that, no, I can't get a book or the textbooks are out of date. You can pick up the item, pick up the video, download a piece of item from YouTube, and then you watch it and listen to it, and it brings to life what you always wanted to learn.
Let's look at the assimilation of these materials by the students. Does this in any way increase their IQ?
It does help you speed up learning. And if aptitude, which is aptitude to learn, that is ability to learn, ability to pick up new materials, is defined as your innate intelligent quotient, the IQ, then it does improve your IQ. It does help your learning, because some of us, remember, not all of us learn exactly the same way. Some of us are visual learners, so they'll watch, see, and they will never forget it again. Others are auditory learners, that means they hear and they will never forget it again. Others are kinesthetic, they will do and they never forget it again. So if you class all three categories together in one room and teach them only through only one method, what you've done is you disable the other two without knowing that really some people are left-handed and others are right-handed. So if you don't administer the material you're trying to give in the preferred style of learning, you have honestly shortchange the other group of people that are keen learners as well.
Interestingly, what you're saying is that the traditional way of actually teaching students in classrooms is not the best way of actually assessing the intelligence of the child.
Absolutely. It was best when it was invented. But since then, circumstances, our deeper understanding of learning and technology have all overtaken that. So it's now out of date. It's like saying that the best way to travel is on a horseback. That was then. But now, the quickest way to travel and the most efficient way is by flying. So you cannot say, I want to begin to travel the way my great-grandfathers traveled because, oh, I want to preserve a tested and a tried and tested way. Because, yeah, using traditional method is tried and tested. But, boy, oh boy, hasn't it been overtaken by the way we can use Ustream? You sit somewhere in South Africa and you can teach a whole class in Las Vegas, or teach a whole class without you paying anything for it. This technology is available thanks to the web. So just a little bit of software and anybody can have a webinar. So you don't have to be in Australia to be able to teach a group of students in Australia. You can sit here in London or be in Washington, D.C. and still be able to be heard and responded to. So you can put up your hand in the class as you do, and electronically, yes, you can interrupt a lecture taking place thousands of miles from where you are and put your question across. So if you don't use technology, we always said it, and we spent quite a considerable number of time addressing this on the Secret of Exam seminar, that if you don't believe in educational informatics, you've locked yourself up in a big hole. And if you want to know more educational informatics, I'll pick up the video and we'll go through it. You have to use the current technology to educate yourself.
Educational informatics
That's
is the
right.
key and the term. You can log on to imafidon.com to learn more about that. Now, for parents, how best can they take advantage of these innovative ways of delivering education to their kids?
Don't bar your students, especially your children at home, from using the computer. That's the first one. You'll be surprised how many parents will not allow the children to use the computer because they are afraid they might ruin it, or they might delete their file, or something might go wrong with it. You must encourage them to use computers at home for as long as they want to use it for. But just monitor what they are doing. That's the only key word. If you monitor what they are doing, instead of just watching the telly all the time, get them to interact with computers, get them to go to useful websites to download items that are relevant to their homework. Because as students, we used to have the encyclopedia, and then you pull out volume 1, volume 2, and physically look at them. But now, you can go straight to any Wikipedia page, and you'll be able to get a lot of basic information that can then be verified. When you go right to the bottom of the page, you have the sources. So you can click on those sources, have a look at them again, and click on those ones, and have a look. So you can have 3 different levels of searches taking place in the comfort of your sitting room. And you mustn't deny any child that opportunity, because if you do, his classmates or her classmates in another house may just have unlimited access to the internet and may look better because they've researched their homework better, which is not necessarily true. It's just that they've been given better opportunity. If you don't have online facilities at home, you must spend time to go to your local library, because most libraries have free access to the internet. You might just have to book for 2 hours or 1.5 hours, but go there and interact with it, because using the textbook, quite honestly, now is a setback, a huge setback on anybody that wants to learn.
Using a textbook is a huge setback. Thank you so much, Dr. Imafidon, for that. Okay. Now, from delivering education in innovative ways, some research have actually suggested that you can also do it through gardening, and children feel happier and it boosts their development when they actually involve in gardening. Now, why is gardening recommended for children? Because
it's kinesthetic. If you're a kinesthetic learner, you want to do, you want to touch, you want to push. You want to use your hands. Some of us are wired that way, and some of us will prosper that way. If we go there, dig the soil up, plant seed, and then cover it, and then come back again and see that nothing's happened. And 2 days later, you see a little shoot coming up. It's exciting because you are seeing life growing. You're seeing life developing. You're seeing the flowers blooming, and you're seeing the insects coming in. So these are things that you see because of what you've done. So if you are that class of learner, it will essentially boost your interest. When someone starts telling you about why leaves are green, what happens when you plant a seed, instead of going through 4 chapters in a biology textbook, you have seen it for yourself in your back garden. So nobody needs to sit and start explaining to you why a seed might divide, why a seed might fracture before a shoot comes out, because you've seen it yourself. And that's the reason why a lot of people that are into gardening do very well in life sciences, in any of the biology or life sciences, because they see the interaction of plants and insects, see the interaction of insects and plants, and see pollination yourself. So you can catch an insect that is carrying bits and pieces of a flower from one flower to the other. And that's very fundamental to whatever we are going to do in terms of food production, food development, agriculture. You know, it just expands and expands into our fundamentals of science. So it's quite useful for us to have that wonderful opportunity.
So what most parents should be doing at this time of the year is actually encouraging their children to be involved in gardening if they want their children to know science.
Yes, because this is a practical laboratory at the back of your house. That's what I would call it. You don't have to go to a biology lab to be able to learn biology. I mean, biology laboratory just simulates the outside world, but the garden is the real world. Remember, the classroom is trying to bring knowledge to bear on the people that are there. And we might begin to think that learning only takes place in the classroom. If we think that way, we've defeated the essence of learning. Learning only starts in the classroom and expands to the real world. And what you see in the real world reinforces what you've been taught in the classroom and expands it. So it just goes on, it feeds into each other like a vicious circle. If you limit your learning to classroom and say, no, I'm no longer learning, I'm now off my learning track, I've graduated from university, I don't have anything to learn, you've denied yourself opportunity for growth and continual development.
And how best can the parents actually translate this learning that they learn in the back garden or in the kitchen or in the house everywhere into the classroom?
Yes. When any item have been discussed in class, try and look for what is relevant in the garden and get your son or your daughter to carry it out. Don't do it for them. You might think, oh, you're not doing them any favor. Give them a little shovel, give them a little hole, let them dig up the soil, and let them see what comes up in the soil. Are they inside?